stand, you know where you stand with them. You know where you stand with their kid, with your kids. You should know, all right? If you lecture, you won't know where you stand with them. All right? So you want them to ask more questions. Judge the behavior, not the kid. Don't use accusatory words like you're lazy. Okay? Be very careful about doing that. So just make sure that what you're saying to your kids is not judging them, judging their behavior. Like maybe saying, instead of saying, this, you're lazy, you're worthless, saying things like, you know, that behavior that you displayed today was so unlike you, and that behavior was inappropriate, and I don't appreciate it, and I know you can do better because I've seen you do better, and that is beneath you. So you're kind of lifting them up and inspiring them and motivating them, but you're letting them know that the behavior is unacceptable. And then also teaching them how to think instead of what to think. We're not going to always be there for our kids. We need to teach them how to be able to think for themselves. All right? So, and then also just get them to see the error of their ways. Moving forward, more on responding. As stated, we know that significant brain changes occur from the age of 11 or 12 and continues into their early 20s. If we have a stereotype or labels regarding our kids based on their behavior, it will influence how we view them and how we interact with them. For example, instead of saying this child is moody, saying this child is highly sensitive, and their moods tend to change very rapidly. This is more likely to put us in a mindset to attempt to try finding out why our kids are this way. And also it allows us to access empathy for our children and take a compassionate approach with them. So just know that we have to be very careful about our responses to our kids. There's so many more examples that I have here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I just want to remind you of a few things. It is a relief for our kids to know that they don't have to carry everything by themselves. With teens, disrespect is sometimes a cry for help, but it tends to push away that help. You have to be that parent that does not allow that behavior to push you away. All right? So, lighten up, stay calm, and investigate when it comes to your kids. It's okay for you to say things like, I don't appreciate you speaking to me that way. Do not speak to me that way. But I can tell something is really bothering you. All right, so let's talk about it. And make sure there is no audience whenever you're calling your kids on their behavior. Okay, because embarrassing them is not a good idea. And also you're role modeling for them also, because you're teaching them that whenever they have an issue or problem with someone or there's some type of conflict, that you pull the person to the side and you talk to them in a private manner instead of having a big audience and a whole bunch of chaos. All right. What kids crave most is knowing that you are interested in what they are going through. So important. A lot of kids don't think their parents even care, so they don't say anything. And it's unfortunate because I don't know about you, but I want to be my kids' go-to. I want to be their number one. Usually parents are the last ones to find out what's going on with their kids. A lot of times they are even. Other parents know about it because your kids have talked to their peers about what they're dealing with or what problems they're having. And the kids have talked to their parents about it, the ones that have a good rapport with their parents. And everybody else knows about it but you. Because you haven't built that rapport with your kids. And you want to build that rapport so that you are their go-to. So listen, stay calm, investigate. Sometimes you're not going to like what you hear from your teens. You don't have to like everything they say, but you do have to learn how to respond in a healthy manner that promotes healthy self-esteem and good emotional well-being for your kids, and also that builds rapport between you and them. Now, you respond to their disrespect. You shouldn't respond to their disrespect with anger or harsh discipline. And when you do that, when you respond to your children's disrespect and their anger, you're telling them that you cannot, as their parents, tolerate them when they're at their worst. So you're making them feel that they have to be a certain way all the time in order for them to be acceptable to you, or they have to be perfect all the time in order to be acceptable. So when they're not feeling acceptable, they're going to isolate themselves from you and distance themselves from you. They need to know that whether they're at their best or their worst, their parents can tolerate them and their parents can respond to them in the way that they need them to respond. Now, take the facilitator role instead of the dictator role. Us parents, we are good about taking the dictator role. So when you take the facilitator role, you allow them to have an opinion. You allow them to be different or to be an individual, and you don't force them to fit into a mold. Why is it important for us to teach our kids to have a voice? Because we want to be the ones to teach our kids how to advocate for themselves whenever there's a problem. If they can't advocate for themselves or speak their opinion or their minds with us, we're such dictators that they can't have an opinion. We're sending our children out into the world without an opinion. Then we get angry whenever people are walking all over them, they're being disrespected, their rights are being violated, and things like that. We have taught them that their rights should be violated. So you're saying, oh, well, I'm the only person that can violate your rights. Our brains are constantly recording our experiences and sending messages. So just remember that you are teaching them something with everything. All right? So once again, like I just said, our central nervous system activity is recorded and it's becoming our learning history. Now, this is problematic because in moments of even moderate arousal or stress, the learning history intrudes into the present. So what we've learned over time or historically, it is present in today's activity, today's life. So without the ability to self-regulate, people often react to their history rather than what's actually going on in the current or present moment. All right? So flashbacks, worrisome fantasies, ruminations, those are instances or examples of a person's history returning into their present or intruding into their present or current life. So if you're ruminating, which is thinking about the same thing over and over, typically in a very, very anxious manner, that is typically your history intruding into your present, and you need to figure out why. Once again, coming in to see a therapist is very important to help out with that. Difficult topics to discuss with teens, parents, educators, professionals, LGBTQ issues. We need to discuss those things with our kids because they're getting it from other kids and they may not be getting the best information. So it's best to be able to talk to them about these things and in a non-judgmental manner. If you cannot talk to them in a way that's not criticizing them, you need to get them into a professional so that you can learn how to respond to this with them and so that they get some proper feedback. Sometimes our personal experiences or personal beliefs get in the way of us being able to respond to things like this appropriately, and then we push our kids away and we teach them to isolate themselves from us, and once again they will be confiding in other people and not their parents. They need to know that you care about what's going on with them, and it might not even be that they're questioning their sexuality. It just may mean what's going on with their peers or something they've seen on TV or the internet. All right, pornography and sex, guys, kids are, especially teenagers and young adults, they're talking about sex, and unfortunately, a lot of them are watching pornography. So you need to talk to them about that. It's a very difficult topic to discuss. Don't be that parent that just says you better not have sex and you better not watch pornography. They need to understand why and what comes with that and so on and so forth. If you cannot talk to them about these things appropriately, and it needs to be more than just one conversation. This is ongoing dialogue throughout the teen years, okay? Not just mentioning it at one time. If you cannot talk to them properly about this, get them in to see a counselor or someone that can. It's really important. Otherwise, they're learning from other kids and they're not getting the right information, okay? And this may be harmful or detrimental to them later on. Politics is tough. Police brutality is a tough topic. Racism, other religions are tough for people to talk about because they only want to talk about their religion. But we have to know, once again, the world is going to teach them about these things if we don't. Dating, substance abuse, and dating. I've done a video recently, well, it was probably several months ago, about teenage dating violence. Guys, if you think that these teenagers are not experiencing violence in their teenage relationships, you couldn't be more wrong. There are teenagers getting slapped around, getting put down, criticized, treated very poorly by boyfriends and girlfriends, being bullied. This is a real thing. So you need to make sure that you're talking to them about these things, okay? Now, I know I've taken up a lot of your time today. So if you have any questions, contact me, KarmaBrownCounseling.com, or you can call my office at 618-717-2732 to schedule an appointment. If you have any questions, you can comment below on this video. I hope you've enjoyed today's session. And that's all I got for today.